But he said, do you remember just where I brought you from? Oh, yes.
Welcome to Kitchen Therapy 7, and I'm Pastor Ron. I'm going to be sharing with you tonight out of John 11 and verse number 1. Now a certain man, and anytime you see in the Bible where it says a certain man, that means this man actually lived, was sick, named Lazarus, of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. And it was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. And therefore his sisters sent to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest. And I want you to underline that. He whom thou lovest is sick. And when Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus, and when he heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. Now right there, you kind of wonder, somebody's sick, and yet you're delaying, and I don't understand. And so let's pick up at verse number 11. And these things said he, and after that he saith unto them, our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of his sleep. And then said the disciples of the Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well. Howbeit Jesus spake of his death, but they thought that he had spoken of taking a rest in sleep. In other words, they thought he was talking about just going to sleep, not dying. He just went out and he's resting. Then Jesus said unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. I mean, Jesus already knew. They didn't catch it, but Jesus knew. That shows that he's God. He already knew that he was dead. And I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, to the intent that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go unto him. Now you got to wonder about this right here, okay? Because Jesus says, Lazarus is dead, and I'm glad, because it's for your sake that I was not there, so that you could believe. Basically, he's saying that I'm the Son of God. And then he goes, and let us go unto him. Now, can you imagine what ran through the disciples' minds right about then? Are you kidding? You're telling us he's dead, but we're going to go see him. And it's for us to believe that you're the Son of God? This should be pretty good. And then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto his fellow disciples, let us go that we may die with him. I love reading that part. That sometimes you just got to love the disciples. They're so human and they're so real. And that's what I love about them. They're a bunch of guys, fishermen, physician, and they show the realness of the gospel, and I love it to pieces, because they just didn't pick up on what Jesus was saying, and so Jesus got to get very plain. It's for you that I'm going. I'm glad I wasn't there, because I need to teach you a lesson that I'm God. And then Jesus came. And sometimes when I read the word, it actually tickles me, but yet it challenges me and it encourages me at the same time. And I am so glad the word says that a merry heart doeth good like medicine, because sometimes you just have to laugh. Because, if you were there and Jesus was talking to you and you knew he loved him, and you'd go, but you're waiting 2 days? and then we're going to go. But if you love him and you know he's sick, Lord, go heal him now. Jesus had no intention of going then. See, it's not on our time that he comes. And I've always said this preaching, it's not where I am that Jesus is. It's where he is, I better show up. And it's vice versa. We need to get to that place where we know that where Jesus is at, that's where we need to be. Now, Lazarus was sick. And so, basically what Jesus was doing this for was for a demonstration of the power and that he had at his disposal because of who he was, and to show how much he loved his children. And he even loved the disciples. He loved them so much that he was teaching them a valuable lesson here. And as we go on, it says, now Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. And then Mary, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went to meet him. But Mary sat still in the house. Now Martha, the way she comes out here is you can tell she has an attitude problem. And she goes out. I mean, when you've lost somebody, it's pretty painful. And then she basically goes out and she said to him, she said, then said Martha unto Jesus, and I love this, and if you get nothing out of this, I think this is as far as I'm going to go tonight. And then I'm going to go on, I'll pick up probably tomorrow. And but I hope this blesses you. Then Martha has an attitude, okay? And you can hear it here. Let me read it. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother would have not died. Martha didn't get it either. All she was concerned about was her present. Jesus is always concerned about the eternal. But then you got to look and listen to how Jesus responds to her. And Jesus saith unto her, thy brother shall rise again. I really like that. Jesus understood Martha and her grief. He understood that she was in pain. He didn't jump her. He just said, look, Martha, Lazarus is going to rise again. He's going to live again. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at that last day. Her temper is starting to cool down, and you can hear it in the writing and in the tone. I know, Lord, that he's going to rise again in that last day. And then Jesus said unto her, he said, you don't get it. I am the resurrection and the life. And he that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet he shall live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Man, aren't you glad of that tonight? No matter what's going on in your life, no matter where you're at, if you know Jesus, don't matter if you're sick, you're going to live. Paul said, for me to die is gain. I'm going to be present with Christ forever. That's awesome. Believest thou this? And she said unto him, yea, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. By this time, after Jesus said that, Martha's demeanor had calmed. Because when you know the speaker, when you know who's speaking to you, when you know that Jesus can speak to the winds of adversity, and when he speaks to them, they calm. Jesus always had a word. The word says that a soft answer turneth away wrath or anger. And you know what? Jesus never responded negatively to her. He responded in love. He wanted her to know that he was the resurrection and the life. So, I hope that you've enjoyed this tonight. And know, from all of us at KT7 tonight, we love you. May God richly bless you. And have a great day. Because, you know what? Jesus loves you. No matter where you're at. No matter what you've done. He loves you. And he's reaching out to you. Though your answer may be delayed for a day, he still hears you. And he will come. And it may not be the answer that you want. I don't always get the answer that I want. But he does answer. And when he answers, in that answer, I have peace. And I have comfort. And I know that he loves me with an everlasting love. This is Pastor Ron from KT7. You have a great night. God bless you.
I'm afraid I won't be able, and I'll go down in defeat. But he said